Want more podcast fandom in your ear holes? Of course you do. And so it's a good thing for you that we are back beginning all new coverage of some of your favorite shows. And you can still head over to patreon.com/podcastfandom to become a premium subscriber for access to our coverage of shows like Westworld, WandaVision, Loki, Attack on Titan, The Legend of Korra, and more. Also, if you are on Clubhouse, look up our club, Podcast Fandom, where we talk about shows like The Walking Dead and WandaVision. It's so much fun because you guys get to listen live as we discuss TV shows and then come up on stage to ask your questions and share your thoughts. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and we also host game nights there, so make sure you join and follow us. And now, get into this free shit. Hey guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
And I'm Donald.
And we are back to discuss The Walking Dead, Season 11, Episodes 20 and 21, What's Been Lost, and Outpost 22. Before we begin, we have our AMC screen up still because we just finished watching an episode of Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, which is a show we're covering over on our premium podcast on Patreon. And I am like gagged that the average IMDb rating for, is it this recent episode 6 is only 6
No, I think that's overall
show. Yeah, they're stupid people. That show is amazing.
I told you people are upset.
Yeah, if you're not watching it, you need to, because it's really good. Yeah, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about a show that is also pretty good. I enjoyed these episodes. The Walking Dead. We are 3 episodes away from the finale. 22, 23, 24. Wait. Anyway.
Yeah, 24 is the last one, so yes, 3 more. One of those is already out for AMC Plus.
24 is the last one. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we had seen these episodes before because we had the AMC Plus thing that has like a week ahead, so we actually already have access to episode 22, which we're going to watch later today and also record so that we can get ahead in terms of not publishing. Like, you'll still get the podcast a day after the episode airs, but if you're premium. But just to make sure that there are no gaps in coverage, because we are going to Georgia next week, so I want to get everything, or this week, Jesus, I want to get everything that's due this week and next week, as much as can be recorded and scheduled, so that we can deal with the trip and moving without neglecting the podcast. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about these 2 episodes, and I'm super excited to watch the next one, especially because we're getting so close to the end. I will say that, how to say this, the fact that it is the end, like, I know we've been saying it, but it really didn't hit me until you were like, 24 is the last one, and I kind of did the math in my head, and I have to say, I'm a little disappointed of where we are.
With the amount of episodes left.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And just like who we're with and where we are.
Right.
Like, I think for people like us, I'd be real curious to see how people who have like been watching this from the beginning, no breaks. Like, you didn't stop watching, you've been watching it live every Sunday, every season, every year. And you're just watching it and still enjoying it, and you have 3 episodes left. Like, it's such a different show than it was in the beginning, which is fine. That happens. But I think it's like the nature of this show. So much of it is about family and community, and it just feels like the foundation of The Walking Dead's family and community is still like missing. Like, Rick is not there. Right. But more than that, it just feels like, to me, if as someone who watched this show, let's say the first 5 to 6, 7 seasons, without fail, you guys know, because I was podcasting it like every Sunday and was like in it. If you had told me the final season of The Walking Dead, there's going to be no Rick, no Carl, you know, like back, you know, if you had told me this back in like season 4, like all the good characters that we've had, and then okay, we got Maggie, but there's no Glenn, and there was this villain, but now he's like part of the gang now. It just feels like, I don't know, I just wish the show was in a different place to be ending, if that makes sense. Like, right. These stakes, like, I don't know, I guess I really don't care about Pamela or the Commonwealth enough as a final, I didn't want to say villain, but just like obstacle. Like, it's good, and I would be watching this whether this was the final season or not. Well, maybe. But it doesn't feel like final season material, if that makes sense. Right. Like, I want a little bit more. And I think the only reason that it's not bothering me, or maybe that it took so long for it to kind of hit me, is that I'm already thinking ahead to those spinoffs. So it doesn't really feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I hadn't really been thinking about this as the end, because I know I'm going to get to see Rick and Michonne, and like these spinoffs are happening. So I hadn't really been focusing on these episodes as the end. But it is, because there's not going to be any more of this show after 3 weeks from now. And I just feel like in that alone, this ending is a little underwhelming. But, like, who knows? Maybe they will wrap up all of this Commonwealth shit in episode 22, and then the final 2 episodes will be more focused on, I don't know, the people. Nope. No? I
already see it. With just the 3 episodes left, we still have the trial of...
Oh, fuck, yeah, I forgot.
That's going to be like a whole fucking episode. We're going to have them rescue everybody from Alexandria. Like, I feel like the very last episode, they're going to kill this woman or somehow get her out of office. I feel like they're going to have to kill her. Then one of their people are going to end up being governor or mayor of this fucking Commonwealth. Like, the people that live there are not no fault. They're just under poor leadership. So they're just, at this point, it's going to be like Carol running the fucking thing, or what's her name, the lawyer, running this town. Like, I feel like that's the end of the show, is one of them are going to take over the Commonwealth. Mm-hmm. But what sucks, and how I feel underwhelmed, is this show started out with the threat of that threat of zombies. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a zombie show, but this season, zombies aren't a threat no more. Like, they're so...
But they haven't been for a while.
Right, and they haven't been, but it's... Well, not even that, but I feel like the Whisperers, the zombies were a threat.
But no, that was people.
But they were controlling the zombies. Right. Like, I feel like the zombies now are just kind of, hey, these people are just kind of, like, every once in a while, I just don't feel like they're not scary no more, in my opinion. We don't have to worry about our people getting killed by zombies anymore. They're just something that just roams around outside like a fucking tiger or some shit. It's like, hey, just stay away from them. But yeah, I at first thought, hey, there's gonna be a lot of deaths. There's gonna be a lot, but now I don't think we're gonna get any major deaths. If they're really talking about not this episode that just aired that we're gonna talk about, but the one before, they're like, oh, there's a major death. It was fucking Hornsby. Like, that was their major death. Then that means there's no big deaths this season. And I feel like it's just going to be...
I'm okay with that, because they've suffered for, like, 11 seasons. I'm okay with the show, like, ending. And again, we have, like, the spin-offs and stuff. I don't... Like, and I don't know who I would want to die. Like, if that makes sense. Like, I guess you never really want characters to die, but I don't feel like I'd be okay with anybody who's left dying just because it's the finale. That makes sense.
So I'm just kidding. That's where I'm curious on how the spin-offs are going to go. So we already know, okay, I know Daryl's plot. That makes sense. But to find out why... I'm
kidding.
Yeah, it'd be funny if Carol was behind it. To get him away from Connie.
Stop it.
But, so, like, I'm just curious why Negan and Maggie would leave. And who's with them? Is Negan's wife with them? Is Maggie's kid with them? Like,
right.
Or is it a Michonne type of thing where she just left that girl there and went off, her kids there and just went off on her own for years?
Well, she wouldn't do that. Alright, are you ready to talk about these episodes?
Yeah.
Alright. So, episode 20, there wasn't, like, a lot, but there were, like, some major developments, I guess, to kind of talk about and set up the a lot that happened in 21. So, with episode 20, What's Been Lost, wait, hold on, I gotta make sure I got the right notes. Okay, so...
Real quick, before you get into it, did Michonne leap after the time jump? Yeah, she did, right?
Michonne has never even been to the Commonwealth.
I know, but that she was with them for that whole time jump with what's her name? They aged her up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. She was raising her and everything. Remember, because she had RJ.
Okay.
We didn't know she had the baby.
I just thought it would be funny if like she showed up at the finale, like to come back and get her kids.
Listen,
with Rick, like I fought Maggie.
Like I left y'all to watch my kids.
And then the spinoff is just them like living afterwards.
I'd watch that. So they round up. This is the episode that begins with people getting rounded up. Our people from the Commonwealth, like Ezekiel, because you thought. So Ezekiel had stopped by to see Carol. She was like leaving some food for him and then packing up food because she was leaving. He's staying. Right?
Because they kept teasing. They told, like, the teasers before this,
death,
there was a big death.
So she's talking to him in the kitchen, and then he stops answering, she turns around, and he's gone. And then these guys come in and try to take her, and she gets away. And then you were like, Ezekiel was, like, there, but then he wasn't. So then you were like, what if he's already dead? And I was like, Donnie, I will knock all this shit over. Because, like, they would do some shit like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, absolutely. But then I was like, they would not kill him off screen. Unless they did something where it was like a flashback to show you how it happened afterwards, I guess. Right. I don't know. But I didn't like that shit. So you had that shit in my head the entire fucking episode. I was like, holy fuck, did they really kill Zeke? Yumiko is told that she has to lead the prosecution against Eugene. Yeah. And you can see she's feeling uneasy about that, but the fact that they've rounded up her friends and the fact that they could, the Commonwealth, and when I say they, I mean Pamela, could still possibly make life hard for her brother. She is left to consider it. And he's just basically like, you should do, like, you gotta just survive. Like, you know, but she's obviously, that's just not how our group does things. So she's kind of conflicted with that. Daryl and Carol break Lance Hornsby out of jail. And and he claims to be able to tell them where their friends are being taken. Right? Mm-hmm. And when Pamela comes into the room and finds that they escaped, we see that he left that coin, that decision-making coin that he had flipped. He left it inside the son's
brains.
Sebastian's, brains. That was so fucked up. But Yumiko eventually, I really like this part, where Yumiko, there was this press conference and she was expected to announce the prosecution, going forward against Eugene. But instead, I like the fact that she was like, before we talk about that, I want to say a big thank you to my brother, and had him stand up. Because I feel like that was her this is my brother. He's a doctor. Everybody knows him.
Right.
So if you fuck with him, exactly. Like, it's because she's able to do like what they did to our people, because like, they weren't doing that shit out in the open, as you can see. Like, they were secretly snatching these people up. She's still trying to keep up appearances. Same way she told her new assistant that she kept accidentally calling Max.
Yep.
That they want the police there, but they want them in the background when they were making that announcement, because she didn't want it to look like a police state.
Right.
It is a police state, but she don't want it to look that way. Yeah, so she's all about appearances. So I like the fact that
Pamela's face during this whole conference was just, it was
because every
so
time Yumiko was like, because she would say some shit like it sounded like she was about to go off script. You could see Pamela like, no, wait,
Pamela's like, this ain't what I wrote.
Right. And then so she was like, but before, when she had her brother stand up, I think Pamela knew then, like, this might be a problem. But yeah, so she was like, I'm going to defend Eugene, and we look forward to our day in court. So yeah. So when they escape where they were holding Hornsby, Carol and Hornsby get separated from Daryl for a bit. And Hornsby tells them about the train that they have, the Commonwealth has. And he knows where they're taking the people. And there's this really great scene with them. I think they're like in the sewers.
Yeah.
And she has to like, and you know, it's that classic Walking Dead where it's like very little light and she's down there, and he climbed up and like left her.
Because they got attacked.
Yeah, they got attacked by these walkers. She ends up killing these walkers down in the sewer. But when they reconnect with Daryl, they basically tell him, he tells them everything. Like, you got to go here, we're going to get on the train. So they're like, okay, then what do we need you for?
Right.
So they were nicely going to just let him leave.
He still had in his head that they needed him to go run this town when they kill fucking Pamela.
Because he talked about how, like, the thing with the train and finding these other communities was finding other communities to, like, join them. Yeah. And she was like, no, to take them over. Right. To colonize them, basically. But yeah, he was like, you need me to build a bright future for the children. I was like, why'd you even bring up children after y'all done kidnapped their kids like damn near twice? The second time, this time you got them, they tried to kidnap those kids a few weeks ago, remember? Yeah. So they were going to let this motherfucker go, and he still had to try it. He was so sloppy. He never stood a chance.
Nope.
And Carol got him right in the neck with an arrow. And then they left him to turn. And you know, usually I don't like that. You know, usually I am team kill every walker you come across. Because you could be leaving a problem for somebody else. But...
You think we're going to see him later? Just an arrow sticking out of his
neck? Yes. Because they left that arrow in his neck. They didn't even take it. So I just feel like that's on purpose. They'll probably come across his ass in this next episode. Somebody will. So then the next episode is 21, and we see Maggie, Rosita, and Gabe are being transported, and they have the hoods over their head. Oh, so the other episode ended with first let me back up. Aisha Tyler directed episode 20, so she did a great job. Yep. There were a couple of really good, I mean, the sewer scene, great. There was a scene where after Carol got away from the men who tried to kidnap her, she went to look for Daryl and found him fighting for his life. He had already killed one. He's fighting against another one. That was fucking really good. I like when it's like fights to the death like that, where it's two people struggling and it's just like who can be stronger, who can be tougher, who can get their hands on something, where it's like if you stop struggling, you can die any moment. And it's just the two of you, a battle of wits and strength and desperation. I love scenes like that. So she directed this episode, and so the whole episode, well, no, towards the beginning of the episode, I was like, when you said that, I was like, shit, could they have killed Ezekiel? And I was like, they better not. But then I forgot. So we watched the whole episode, and then one of the final scenes is him. You don't know it's him yet, but it's a bunch of people on a bus, and they have these sacks over their head. Ransack. Ransack? No, ransack is when you mess
like
what's it called?
Sack or...
They're called... Is it just a sack? The potato sack? Anyway. The camera pushes in through the fabric of the bag so that you can see that it's Ezekiel under there. And they were getting injections in their neck to pass out. So, in the next episode, we see Rosita... being transported in the back of like this Jeep, and it's or truck, and it's Rosita, Maggie, and Gabe.
Which I found it weird that those three were separated. And they weren't being ejected.
Oh, I think they had already been ejected.
Oh, okay.
And she came to first.
Got it. Okay, that
yes.
makes sense. Oh, because the guy was sleeping, that's right.
Yes. And so that's why the guy felt comfortable sleeping in the back with them. And so I just think they were either... They were separate because they were taken separately.
Or the bus was full.
Maybe. Or maybe they were taking them to a different outpost to do something. Because they're, pushing labor. Right. So it's maybe, okay, we're going to get the people on the bus to go work the tracks. And we're going to take these people here. In terms of they were taking them to Alexandria. Mm-hmm. We find out later. So Maggie wakes up and undoes Gabe's restraints. And then he undoes... Rosita's? Sorry. And then they jump off the back of the Jeep, except Maggie waits too long, and so the guy wakes up, and they struggle, and his gun goes off. He ends up, killing the driver, and it crashes. So, this was at night.
Yep.
And when they come back from commercial...
It's daytime.
Rosita and Gabe are knocked the fuck out, and I'm like, how did you... What? So their feet, they jumped out of a moving vehicle and rolled and then passed out.
Yep.
All night.
Yep.
Didn't die. Walker waited till the morning.
The guy she threw out the truck that shot the
What's that? You said that was him. That was him?
Yeah.
Maggie is who the fuck knows where.
Right, because she took off at night.
Well, no, the thing... It crashed. Did she get out the car?
Yeah, she got out. Because she looked over it. She went to the driver, and she took something from the driver.
Okay. So the people on the bus are separated. The guy gets on the bus, and he basically explains that what the Commonwealth has been doing is people who are exiled. So they don't let people leave, basically. So now we get that, right?
And you're saying this isn't the warden?
I don't think so, because I don't think the warden would be greeting people on the bus.
I just feel it weird.
I feel like
with
the
3
warden
episodes
is...
left, I feel like the warden's got to be a big person. But I felt like this guy was very Negan-like. Because I felt like a lot of stuff like you said, a lot of stuff he was saying here, and I felt like Negan caught onto it too, that he was a lot like Negan.
Yeah, but
that's why I was like, hey, he could, because I was like, 3 episodes left, are they really going to introduce somebody that's worse than this guy?
Could be. But now, I'm trying to remember if we ever established this, and maybe they didn't, but I feel like they still could. The Commonwealth is not connected to the people that have Rick. The people who have Rick,
no.
Michonne found the lead on that.
Right.
She found Rick's stuff.
Right, on that boat.
Right. And she joined up with a caravan of people traveling together, mm-hmm. right? To go try to find Rick.
Right.
But we know Rick was taken with Jadis.
Right.
And they were the reason I asked is because, remember, they were separating people based on A, B, remember?
Right.
And she thought she was going to give them Gabe, and she called it a B. But then Rick, quote unquote, died, and she found his body. And remember when the helicopter showed up, she radioed him and said, no, I have an A. And so she took Rick. So I'm just wondering, because these people do split people up.
Right.
I'm just wondering.
Well,
this is how. Because it does, at some point, I feel like something with the end of this show has to
tie it to Rick.
Has to tie somewhere, just so that show
can survive.
Has a jumping off point.
Right. And that's why I said that, I would, it'd be kind of cool to see Michonne and Rick show up. But, I don't know if they will or not. But seeing that this episode and them transporting, I kept questioning, where are they getting all these fucking vehicles from? And we know that Jadis and them people had fucking helicopters and stuff.
Right.
And even on the boat, it seemed like they had almost... Because they were... That island, I thought, was a military operation island, right? Because that's why they went out to that island. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, okay, they could have military vehicles. So if whoever they're getting their vehicles from, that could easily tie into Jadis's people.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It feels like it almost kind of has to be. Okay, So, Negan's wife is taken somewhere else. They're told that they will not refer to each other by their names. And then Negan, Ezekiel, Kelly. Is Princess with them?
No, it's just them three.
Just them three. They have to work on the railroads. And while they're working, a group of workers try to escape, and Kelly was going to go with them. And
Kelly was going to go a different direction. So,
but I mean, she was going to run.
Right.
And Ezekiel talks her out of it, and those people get gunned down, like, immediately. They don't get far at all. When Rosita and Gabe wake up from jumping off the back of that truck, and they kill the walker, they take, like, the stormtrooper walker, they take all his supplies, and they're just headed. She's like, we're just going to keep going in a direction that those trucks were going, because she knows they have her daughter.
Right. Until they hear a train horn.
Yes. She's like, choo-choo, motherfucker, we're going wherever that train's going.
And then Gabe's like, there's a train?
He's like, it can't be a train. But her shoulder gets dislocated, because she gets knocked over by a walker, and he has to put it back in. Yeah. And I'm like, good Lord. So Maggie finds this little boy walker, which she leaves. Like, she doesn't kill it.
Because it reminds her of her son.
Yes. And then one of the stormtrooper pulls up in a Jeep, and she hides. And before it can kill the kid, she kills the guy. But then she has to deal with the kid, and she apologizes to him before she kills the little kid walker.
And then everybody shows up.
That's when Daryl and Carol show up. Yeah. So... wait, before that, Carol and Daryl find the train, and they see Connie, and Connie is being separated. Right. She's going to somewhere else. So they kind of have a discussion on, like, the best way to proceed, because Daryl's like, fuck it, I'm not letting them take her there. Right, because I already lost. Last time I listened to you, Carol. And when they come across Maggie, they come up with a plan to ambush one of those, like, checkpoints. The guys that have the train, they have those cards and stuff on the, what is it? Like, it's like a Jeep, and they have motorcycles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they end up capturing one of the stormtroopers alive. And Gabe recognizes him from the Commonwealth. He used to come into the church every Sunday and sit in the back and not say anything, right?
But he looked like he wanted to say something.
Yeah. And he does tell them something, right?
When Gabe comes in, he's like, because he starts talking about the will God hate me or whatever.
Yeah. That's why I couldn't be. I'd be like, maybe, I don't know what you do.
I loved it because Gabe was honest with him.
Gabe is the realest man of God on TV. The realest man of God. So there's this really cool bike chase when they ambush these guys, and it's Daryl chasing one of them getting away on a motorcycle, and then the guy gets off the motorcycle and he runs. It's so funny because he bends under this, like, fallen tree or something. The guy, he's running from Daryl, and he has to, like, lean down or bend over to, like, get under this thing and keep running, and he's in that uniform, so it's all clunky. But Daryl does that classic, is it Akira? The anime, that bike slide thing.
Yeah, because they did it in Nope, too.
Yeah. But I love it because the bike takes the guy. His sliding bike knocks the guy over his feet, and Daryl kills him. So they capture one more guy from the train.
The train operator.
Yes, and he tells him that there's a map, but he won't, like, he
won't say
kills himself. Yeah,
right.
He won't tell them anything. He goes, because they'll kill me and they'll kill my family. And so they were like, well, we can just, like, beat you up and make it look like,
He said the warden will find out.
Yeah. The warden cannot be that guy on the... You don't think? The warden? I don't know. I don't know. So, yeah, he ends up killing himself. He tells him about the map in the engine room. And Rosita uses the radio And she knows their lingo and shit.
Because she's been, let's do it all fucking day.
Well, she used to work with them.
Yeah.
And she gets directions. She says she was ambushed or whatever, or there was an accident, and she gets directions to where they're taking the people.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's Alexandria.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta go fuck shit up. That's all I'm saying.
I can't believe, like, this was because in this episode, it was the first conversation that Negan and Ezekiel has had.
Yes. He's like, I've avoided you for years. Why are you sitting next to me? I'm trying to eat this sludge, this gloop, this glop, goopy shit they've served us. But they kind of agree to work together.
For now.
To get their asses out of here.
And Negan's basically willing to sacrifice himself because he's like, I'm going to do something, but you guys will be able to go, but I ain't going to be able to go.
I can't remember. Did I ask you this on the podcast, or was it when we were watching last week? But do you think there's still tigers?
I'm sure there is.
Like where?
From broken zoos and shit. You gotta.
No, those things are probably. It's been like a decade or more into the zombie apocalypse. Those things are dead. Who the fuck was feeding them if they get out? Especially places like big cities like that. Big cities that have zoos, those animals are either dead or from like not being fed and kept, or they eventually got out and then they got eaten by hordes.
But then, maybe
out like the wilds of like
in Asia and stuff like that.
Yeah, like out in the wilds, probably. Yeah, I guess. But not in cities and stuff.
But then again, we don't see a whole lot of wild animals in the show either anymore.
Right, because it's a city. That's what I'm saying. There wouldn't really be wild animals.
Why not?
We've been in cities. For the reasons I just said!
But there's no population, so the animals wouldn't be forced to one area as they could start. Everything's being grown.
Okay, but what do you think happens when an animal runs into a horde?
Exactly.
It's dead.
I don't think there's many animals. I would be surprised if there's very many left. I don't know. It's interesting.
I'm reading this book, or actually I finished it. It's called Dread Nation, and it's this like alternative history where there was zombies rose up like shortly after the Civil War, and the main character is this black girl who was born on a plantation 2 days before the zombie apocalypse started. And so there's like these schools that they send Negroes to learn how to fight zombies and stuff. Because white people, listen, why would they ever do anything for themselves when they can force people of color to do it for them? And so she attends like this school, but I forget how old she is when this story starts. Like maybe 18 or so. Anyway, she ain't never seen a horse. Because most of them were killed during what they call the uprising, when the dead started walking, like the zombies were eating them and stuff. So she like lived on this plantation most of her life. She had never seen a fucking horse. She saw one towards the end of the book and she was like, oh my god, what kind of beast is this? So it was kind of funny. So it makes me wonder, again, like in this show, there are people born after the apocalypse that don't know anything about the world as it was.
Alright, so I'm going to go back to this because we were talking about it before we were recording, and it's still confusing me. But then again, this is The Walking Dead. Okay. And so go back to Hornsby's out there. He goes to try to take over Negan's people, and basically gets attacked and stuff like that. So he's pissed off,
right?
And he's going to find out where Negan and them people are, or whoever attacked him and stuff. He goes to Alexandria. I thought it was Alexandria. Maybe. No, it was either Hilltop or Alexandria. No, it was Hilltop, because we talked about this.
I don't think you have it right, but go ahead.
No, it was Hilltop. But during that time, he was going town to town because he was going to Ocean. Remember, he went to Oceanside. He was looking for all these people that were responsible for this stuff. He was going to all their communities. And I thought at that time is when he took over Alexandria. When he was pissed off. He's like, I'm taking all you guys' things. But while he's out there, he never went back to the Commonwealth. Because during that whole time, they were like, that's when they were doing the whole newspaper thing, and the whole thing was coming out, and then they decided to blame everything on Hornsby.
Okay.
So because he was still out dealing with all this shit. So when the hell did they build this whole Alexandria camp? Like while he's out
while
there.
that stuff has been happening.
Like,
that's what they were doing.
Then
I think that was always the plan, was to take it over, and that was the bullshit of it. Like they thought that they were being kind of.
Because I don't say that was the finale of that last season. Or so, I thought it was when the banners and stuff came down that they took over Alexandria. And I was like, damn, they really set this fucking camp up like fast as hell.
Okay, well, I'm trying to get a picture of a bump on my side the whole time you were talking. But my phone died, so I was trying to use my iPad, and that didn't work either. Like, I could feel it, but I can't see what it is, and now I've convinced myself I have, like, side cancer or something.
Oh, God, stop it.
Anyway, so that's it. That's the end of the podcast. I'm super excited to watch episode 22. Like I said, I feel like the shit Maggie said at the end of this episode, we're going to go get our house back. We're going to get our kids back. This bitch ain't going to see it coming. She going to be sorry she fucked with us. I'm waiting for that shit to start happening now. Like, if these next 3 episodes was just all fucking shit up to get our people back and get our polices back, I'd be happy with that. And then start these spinoffs afresh. But, I don't know. I don't feel like that guy is the warden. I kind of hope he's not. I'll be okay with the new big bad that we can beat the shit out of for the next 3 episodes. No?
No, I think that's too much.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Whatever it is, I want to see these people. I mean, if you think about it, they just introduced him.
I know.
He only got 1 more episode than the warden would get.
I feel like
he ain't nobody. Negan gonna kill that man next week. He ain't nobody. He think he Negan. He great value Negan. He don't know crazy. You see, you've been lulled into a false sense of security because Negan got a baby coming. Negan gonna kill that man. Anyway. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week to talk about episode 22. That should be up almost immediately after the episode airs the next day, because we are going to watch it now and get it recorded before we leave. So hopefully there won't be a drop in coverage while we get our lives together. As always, though, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for subscribing, and we will talk to you next time.